Hey guys, how's it going? And happy Friday. I hope all of you are doing good and we're going to have a good time tonight. Now, the title of this stream is the ATF coming to your house. Maybe not, but actually maybe. And they're going to people's houses right now, more than I've heard in quite some time. So we're going to talk about that. This concerns things like forced reset triggers, which in my opinion, there's literally no way. I mean, as far as the statute goes, there's no way they could be statutorily considered machine guns. It's literally not even physically possible. However, the AFT has gone through using Chevron deference and declared that they are. There's another item out there known as a solvent trap, which, as far as I know, the intent of the people that designed them was to do just that. See, it's interesting. People that are more on the left, people that would be tending more to want to ban guns, they always claim they're environmental friendly, right? The Green New Deal. Yeah. Good luck getting by in the next couple of years when they outlaw gasoline and diesel powered vehicles. But the Green New Deal, right? Those people usually hate guns. Well, when there's something that was invented to screw on the end of your barrel, you usually clean it from the breech to the muzzle. And then solvent, fluids that may contain petrochemicals usually come out, right? Well, as far as I know, the intent of those was to trap any solvent in there so you could safely dispose of it and be a good steward of the environment. Well, now they've arbitrarily said, nope, that's a silencer. That's an NFA item. Now, what gets even more interesting than that, in a bad way, is that it used to be you could fill out what's called a Form 1 to make your own silencer. We usually call them suppressors. In the actual law, they're referred to as silencers, right? And you could buy something like a solvent trap, and if you had the intent of making it into a silencer, you could apply for a Form 1 through the ATF. You could pay $200, basically bribe the people that are going to come knocking at your door or confiscate your guns. You could help pad their salaries and give them plenty of financial fluidity there to come and steal your guns later, because that's the purpose of the ATF, in my opinion. And after you paid them to take your guns, then that you could make the solvent trap into a silencer. Oh, okay. But now that's not the case either. They've just declared that a solvent trap, which in my opinion, the intent would be to collect solvent. And if you had other intent with it, you would fill out the proper ATF paperwork, purchase this little postage stamp thing for $200. Now, you would also waive a bunch of your God-given natural rights that are protected by the Constitution by having that tax stamp, and you wouldn't be able to cross state lines, and there's all kinds of other things, baggage that goes along with that, but that was, for the longest time, something that you could do. Okay. Nope. Why? Because the law changed? No, actually it didn't. Because the ATF, which is part of the bureaucracy, said so. Now we don't have to go back too far. Just a few weeks ago, there was footage going all over YouTube, all around the internet, of them just showing up to a person's house because they said he bought multiple guns in the same transaction. And I don't know if you guys know this or not, but certainly if they're handguns, pistols, and you buy more than one from an FFL within a certain day period, it's kind of like 5 days, but it's kind of really 7 days. Look at it and you'll see what I'm talking about. That you would have to. That FFL would have to fill out a multiple handgun paperwork. It's a form. And send that off to the police. And then to the ATF, to federal law enforcement. So they keep track of all of it. Now also keep in mind, we're in the information age where everything's tracked, guys. Everything you do online is tracked. If the place you bought it from bought postage from, let's just say, that stamps website, whatever, USPS, UPS, FedEx, wherever, there's a tracking trail. Now, hold on a minute. Anti-gun policies? I just said FedEx and UPS, and I repeated myself. USPS, that's part of the federal government. So what do you think their stance is on guns, especially during this administration? Now, it makes it really, really easy for them to see what people are purchasing, how they're purchasing it, where they're purchasing it. Also, credit card companies. that there's been plenty of information come out that these large businesses have been more than willing to give up information in many cases to the government. Now, forced reset triggers. They've been now reported to be coming to people's house with regularity that have purchased these. Also, people with solvent traps. This all started over a year ago with Diversified Machine. I did a video on this channel talking about Diversified Machine has been raided. And I know this is a hot topic. I was literally hanging out with my daughter at her school, and one of the parents came up and was like, what's going on with these solvent traps? I think he said some friends of his had purchased them and we're wondering. And this has been months and months and months ago. Well, now it appears that they're stepping it up yet again. We've also heard in the past, there was a famous YouTuber. I just can't remember the channel's name, or I'd love to shout him out. He's like a diesel tuner guy. Maybe you guys know who I'm talking about and can chime into the chat. He was buying fuel filters in bulk because he saved money by buying them a dozen at a time, which I've bought oil filters and things like that too, a dozen at a time. Because a lot of times, if any of you guys are into that kind of stuff or own a small lawn service like I do, where I'm, putting more hours on my lawnmower than you would at home. So instead of buying one filter, for say $14, a lot of times you could get a dozen of them for like $140. A lot of times it kind of works itself out. Generally speaking, when you buy your filters in bulk by the dozen, you usually get like 2 of them free, 12 for the price of 10. It all adds up. It's super expensive to operate a small business, right? Well, now we've been hearing about this, not just now, but within the past year or more, almost a couple of years, actually, now that I think about it. They've been putting people on lists and showing up to people's house. You bought too many fuel filters. You bought too many oil filters. Yeah, like Kurt24 said. What's happening, Kurt? Get that quantity discount. No, it doesn't matter nowadays anymore. There's lots of problems with this, and we're going to discuss some of that. I'm going to share an article from AmmoLand. I'm also going to share a video from my friend John Crump. He got a hold of me a couple hours ago when I was out cutting grass and said, dude, I'm going to be dropping this story in a couple hours. He gave me early access to the video, which I appreciate, and just sitting there shaking my head. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, it just keeps on continuing. And in my opinion, these people are evil, and these people are contrary to America, and they're contrary to this republic. Like Ben Franklin said, if you can keep it. And these people are anti-Constitution. These people are anti-God-given natural rights. And again, I think this is evil to be coming to people's homes, trying to confiscate property. You are supposed to have property rights as an American. You're also supposed to have the right to keep and bear arms, and that it shall not be infringed. Now, when they wrote that, they didn't grant you a privilege or a permission. No, it was a pre-existing natural right, and the Founding Fathers knew that. Of course. It doesn't say anywhere in the Second Amendment that the federal government gives you permission to keep and bear arms. No, they wrote it to the government. And they said a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. I love the Second Amendment so much because if there was any ambiguity at all, it tells you the why right there. I mean, all of us want to be free, right? A republic of the people, by the people, for the people. And the only reason the government would exist at all is to protect your natural rights that are endowed by your creator. These certain unalienable rights that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Like really, really beautiful stuff. Well, that was written around 1776, July 4th. Fast forward 1791, they said, hold on, but what if they do want to infringe on these certain unalienable rights? So they enumerated the Bill of Rights, and they said, this is now bona fide law. It's part of the Constitution. The Constitution being the supreme law of the land in the United States, right? And these were natural pre-existing rights, yet again, not granted to people by the government, we love the Founding Fathers, right? But not even they had the power to give us rights. But what they did have the power and ability to do was to restrain the government, and to restrain not only their government that they had at that time, but future governments, including the ones today. Okay? Well, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. That's why, because we need this to be free. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Period. End of story. And they're, like I said, going door to door now asking people, saying, you can just give it to us and we'll destroy it. Is this America? A country where you also have rights to property, which is also enumerated in the Bill of Rights. And you have due process of law. Where you buy something that's completely legal. And by the way, if you look at the supreme law of the land, the Constitution, the Second Amendment to the Constitution, shall not be infringed. That's the law of the land. And if it's not the law of the land, we must be living in another country. Either that or the Constitution isn't really a document that's part of the United States anymore. See, you can't have it both ways. And you guys let me know in the chat, what do you think it is? Do you think we still live in the United States of America and the Constitution is just null and void? Or is the Constitution the supreme law of the land of a former country that doesn't exist anymore? That I guess if it doesn't exist anymore, that you're not living in today. Because very, very early Supreme Court precedent, Marbury v. Madison said, all laws that are repugnant to the Constitution, those are null and those are void. Now we're supposed to have these separate branches of government. The executive, so it's to faithfully execute the law, which is created by the legislative branch, the Congress, the two chambers, the upper chambers, the Senate, the lower chambers, the House of Representatives. Okay. That's how the United States of America is set up. Then the judiciary branch, which starts on the basic local level, goes throughout the states, also on the federal level, promulgates itself all the way up to the top to SCOTUS, Supreme Court of the United States. Well, in absence of a law, but yet they're taking lawfully owned property that people purchased when it was completely legal. Congress didn't write a new law. The executive branch can't execute a law that doesn't exist, or they would be outside the rule of law. They would be tyrannical, because that's the definition of tyranny. That's literally why the founding fathers wrote the Declaration of Independence, by the way. They talked about a tyrannical government. At that time, the King of England. By the way, you can own a silencer there like it's nothing. They have more rights to hearing protection in the country that we fought the revolution against than you do, if you're an American. And I want you to really let that sink in and think about that. So the executive branch couldn't possibly execute a law that doesn't exist unless they're completely tyrannical. The judicial, yeah, they'll opine from time to time. And the Bruin case was a good one. But we hadn't had a huge sweeping Second Amendment case in about a decade or so before that. Now, there's been smaller ones that are also very important. I'm not trying to make light of those, but once about every 10 years, SCOTUS decides they'll opine a little bit, right? You know, this is, of course, a Second Amendment issue. Obviously, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, but this is also a property rights issue where you buy something in good faith. Because absent any law that prohibits something, by default, it's generally legal, right? I'm not giving you legal advice, but that's how it works. There's no law that says you're allowed to breathe. I'm just letting you guys know that. Go look it up. Find any law that says you're allowed to breathe. Well, that was violated a lot, whether you're allowed to breathe fresh air or not. In the last 2 years, and people were very willing to comply. Very, very willing. Eager to comply, I would note in most cases. But no, you won't find a law that says it is hereby, therefore, legal for Americans to be able to breathe air. But there isn't a law that prohibits you from breathing, so therefore you can. Well, many people believe that in absence of a law that prohibits a solvent trap, which again, the left should be all about that. The Green New Deal. They just passed it. Now it's to the point where your 500th great-grandchildren will still be paying off the debt for this doozy. But anyways, in my opinion, again, I don't know what other people do. I don't care what other people do. I'm not law enforcement. It's none of my business what people do. But in my opinion, I believe the intent to the solvent trap was to keep the potentially toxic, harmful fluids that end up getting squeegeed or brushed down the bore, to keep them contained within a vessel instead of just like all over the ground or in the garbage can or whatever. You could bottle them up safely and you could put it in a storage container and, I don't know, Most local Walmarts have like an oil recycling center, for example, and stuff. You could take it somewhere, recycle it. You could be green. You could be a good custodian of the environment. You guys follow me? But people bought these in good faith because absent a law that prohibits it, they believed these were legal. Same thing with forced reset triggers. You look at those, and the law is very specific on what makes a machine gun, but the ATF's tried to conflate that. They've tried to say it's a function of a trigger, it's a pull of a trigger, it's a function, it's a pull. They've taken samples of stuff, and this news has been broken a while ago, guys, where they'd have a sample of an item and they would attach rubber bands to it and all kinds of extra physical apparatus to an item and say, well, now that we put rubber bands on it and did all this baloney to it, now it can fire full auto, fire as a machine gun. I mean, it literally appears to me anyways, and again, chime in the chat. Let me know if I'm the only one noticing this. I know I'm not. I know you guys get it. But we need to talk about this and remind America what's going on right now. But it just seems like this never-ending goalpost. And it seems like to me, like no matter what, you're like, well, hold on. Is there a law that prohibits this? No. Okay, they're selling these to thousands of people. You have lawful intent. You buy something. And then all of a sudden they're at your door a year or two later. It just feels dirty. It feels sleazy. It feels like entrapment. It feels like a dirty trick. It feels like a bait and switch. Just all of these things I could say, and I could probably list you 100 nasty things that it feels like. It all comes back down to one word. It looks like a tyrannical, bureaucratic government to me. Now, here's another thing. And I know this gets talked about sometimes, but not a lot. 3 branches of government. Do you guys believe that anymore, that we have 3 branches of government? Because it seems like to me we actually have 4 branches of government. But here's the problem. As soon as you mix that 4th branch in, it's a lot like an invasive species into an ecosystem. Oh, I'm serious. Me, growing up on Lake Erie, I remember when the zebra mussels came in. They came in attached to hulls of ships. Usually for some reason this stuff usually comes from Asia. I mean, nothing against Asian people. It's just it usually comes from China or somewhere, it seems like, in the end of the day. I don't know why. It might be a coincidence, but the zebra mussels came in. The ecosystem of the Great Lakes didn't have any natural predators at that time for the zebra mussel. So it was allowed to perpetuate and it was allowed to prosper. And there was no checks and balances against it because obviously the lake's evolution and natural ecosystem evolved around what had been living in it. What was indigenous, what was natural to it. Okay. Now look at what's indigenous and natural to the United States government. Well, we have these 3 branches of government and they're supposed to go in a circle to provide checks and balances against each other. But they don't provide checks and balances to a rogue 4th branch that, in my opinion, is ruling outside the rule of law. There is no checks and balances for that. And we're watching the administrative state, the deep state, the bureaucracy, whatever you want to call it, 3-letter agencies, jackboots. I mean, all of those are appropriate in many cases. We're not just watching them grow a little bit. We're watching them just multiply and multiply and multiply. And it doesn't appear that the government is either able to or has the will and desire to keep them in check. I mean, is that what it appears to you guys? Well, I mean, it's hard to not mention the fact that 87,000 new IRS agents were just authorized to be hired. Billions of dollars more in money that they stole from you to hire people that are no doubt going to come and steal a lot more from you. And I would note, the ATF, if you look at its history, how it was originally formed, many scholars would argue and say it didn't even have a legitimate formation at all. Okay. But where it originally got its power from was actually through the IRS. Because when you purchase those tax stamps, you're no longer exercising a right. Throw that out the window. You're bribing the government to give you and grant you a privilege. And a tax stamp item, whether it's a machine gun and any other weapon, short-barreled rifle, short-barreled shotgun, silencer, suppressor, call it what you want, moderator. It's a privilege to own that in this country. If you're wealthy enough, if you're willing to extort and bribe the proper government officials, you can purchase this tax stamp. Well, taxes all originate through the IRS. Now, what do you guys think? They've been asking for more and more ATF agents. And Congress has now granted them more of those too. But since these branches, these agencies, I just said branch of government, let's just call it what it is. It's a fourth branch of government, guys. I mean, in my opinion, I don't think I'm alone in that. A rogue branch of government that's like from another country, because the Constitution wouldn't allow this. But it's going on right now. Either the Constitution's dead or this country's dead. And I don't know which it is, but it's something. Something's not what it should be. Something is not what it might appear to be. I wonder if those 87,000 IRS agents are for maybe one of three things. Either A, so they can come after your money and you're too weak to fight. How could you sue the ATF for illegally taking your solvent trap when the IRS just got into your finances and took all your money? This is just a hypothetical example. Maybe the IRS will be part of these confiscations. Now, there's still somebody out there, maybe somebody watching right now. There's somebody out there at this point. I know there are. There's somebody saying, dude, just relax. Ain't nobody coming for your guns. Oh, no, they're coming for guns and like stuff that's not even new guns. They're not even guns at all, in my opinion. Now, they're going to declare they are. They're going to declare a tube that you could, again, protect the environment by not letting your solvent wash down the drain. I mean, a lot of us use oil-based gun cleaning products, right? Okay. They declare it's a firearm because, remember, all NFA items are firearms. Then they see any part of a solvent trap as a silencer. So that makes just a little piece of it a firearm, one that's subject to the purview of the National Firearms Act. That's the mandatory registry. Can't cross state lines without a special Form 5 permission slip. Can't even own them in many states. Very burdensome and hard to transfer them. Okay. What do you think the IRS is going to maybe get involved in this? Maybe with some boots on the ground. Because if you guys remember, one of the qualifications to apply for one of these IRS positions, this job posting's been made well published. You have to be trained in lethal force and be willing to use it. I'm summarizing, but I think that's either exactly or essentially what it said. These aren't just pencil pushers sitting there, you know, like sharpening their eraser or, I mean, they have those, no doubt. No, these are people coming in with machine guns because they can still own those. Flashbangs, which are hard for you to get, probably considered a destructive device in many cases. They have those. They have things that I get it. They call them MRAPs and armored personnel carriers. They're tanks. They come in with wheeled tanks, up-armored tanks. They're like, AK-47, AR-15, that's cute. Tink, 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 as it's bouncing off of their tank that they'll drive right into your front yard. Sometimes they'll drive it through the walls, if you guys remember Waco, and drive it through the wall of it. Do you remember when they did that? Then they started gassing people. Then when they all retreated, they set a lot of women and children on fire. They could have caught David Koresh when he went into town to jog every day by himself very easily. You guys know that, right? David Koresh, Waco, Texas. The Branch Davidians, they were called. He jogged into town. He left the compound and jogged into town every day. But it appears to me, in my opinion, they waited until all the women and children were hunkered down so they could kill all of them. Ruby Ridge showed up for a supposed NFA violation. I say alleged because you guys do know Randy Weaver and his so-called accomplice at that time. So-called, according to the government, accomplice. They were acquitted by a jury of their peers. These are innocent men, which means through the judicial system, it's provable they never committed a crime. So for a man that never committed a crime, they're snooping around on his property. Like any good family dog would, the dog barks at the agents, the jackboots that are on the family's property, the homestead. In swift response, they do what they do best and shot the dog. Sammy Weaver, the son, instantly pulls his gun because these are rural people living in Idaho, and that's what people do living in rural Idaho and rural Michigan and all over the United States. Doesn't even have to be a rural place. We carry guns because we're Americans. He pulled his gun. They killed him. Then there was a several-day standoff that ensued, and finally, Randy Weaver's like, I'll keep fighting with these boys a little longer, but there was a newborn baby in the house, and Randy Weaver's wife came out to surrender. She came out on the porch with a baby in her hand. A baby, I surrender. The baby's got nothing to do with us. Let's not have the baby caught in the crossfire. I'm summing things up, but go look it up if you guys either ignored it or are too young to know about it, or you're forgetting. Now, the government's trying to intimidate me from telling you this story, saying I could be considered a militia violent extremist if I wear this hat. Some of the signage I have on my walls. And for even talking about the Branch Davidians and the Weaver family. I'm going to finish telling it because if it wasn't sad enough that they killed the family dog, on the dog's own property, by the way. Property that supposedly you own until you get 30, 60, 90 days late on your taxes, then they come and take it. Do you guys realize you really don't even own land in this country? Well, I would argue you actually don't, because if you don't pay your rent, if you don't pay your extortion, if you don't pay your property taxes within a certain amount of time, people with guns, it may be your county sheriff, it may be your police department, it may be a marshal, whatever they're considered in your state, a ranger if you're in Texas, who knows? People with guns and badges that you pay their salary, that are supposed to be public servants that work for you, they'll come to your house and they'll ask politely at first and they'll say, you need to leave. Then they'll come back with all the paperwork and they'll say, well, we're putting this padlock on your door, and if you don't leave, you're under arrest, and if you don't let them arrest you, they'll kill you. So the Weavers that were on their homestead of land they technically didn't own, because I don't think anybody technically owns anything in this country anymore, especially with all the recent door-to-door things that are going on. She came out with a newborn baby. She was assassinated by a government sniper. It's true. You don't have to take my word for it, because it's literally provably true, because not only did Randy Weaver and his so-called accomplice get acquitted of all crimes by a jury of their peers, but then the federal government had to come back and pay a settlement. Now, we just lost Randy Weaver a couple months ago. I don't know. I never know anything anymore. Like, how do you guys even know what's the truth anymore? Do you wonder that? I mean, truth is treason in the empire of lies. He probably died of natural causes. He had been sick for a while and struggling, but yeah, he was in his 70s. Randy Weaver did just pass away. But the government admitted that they were wrong by paying him all that money. Now, I don't think money is going to replace his family dog, his son, and his wife. And that baby that... I mean, obviously the baby knew her mother, because there's a bond, I believe, in utero where a baby starts to know its mother, his or her mother. And even an infant knows their mother. Trust me, I knew with my baby girl, you could just tell, you know. I mean, she's known me from the beginning too, but she really knew mama right from the beginning. But here's the problem, though. That baby never actually got to cognitively know her mother. And that's literally insane. I mean, they write movies about this and books about this, where the crazed psychopath is instantly killing a mother with a baby in her arms, shooting the family dog, shooting the teenage son. I mean, this is stuff that would be in some kind of like dime novel that would then later on turn into a thriller movie and stuff. But no, these are the agencies that really did this. And if you look at Waco, Texas, they painted this group of people, I'll call them, because they like to say it was a cult, but I'm not the arbiter of truth. I don't want to use the government's words. It was people that were living together, okay? Some people that were in it said it was a good thing. Some said it was a bad thing. I was never in the Branch Davidian compound, okay? So I don't have any eyewitness accounts of anything. But I would note They did change the age of consent in Texas afterwards. If you look at the age of consent now in Texas versus what it was then, there's a difference. Go look it up. Sometimes you guys got to look some of this up on your own because you'll find out what really happened. They painted David Koresh in a certain way, and I'm not going to stick up for him or condemn his soul because that's just not my place. He's dead now. I believe the only good judge there is has judged his soul, and he's either in heaven or hell. And it's none of my business to know that right now as an earthly human. That's just literally my thoughts on that. I don't know. I don't know what David Koresh had in his heart, what he did or he didn't do. But I do know this. Like I said earlier, he jogged into town every day. They could have picked him up alone. They didn't. They started breaching the compound with heavy artillery, military vehicles, helicopters. They had like these school buses, I guess, that were converted into bunkers because these people didn't trust the government. Now, I'm not saying they were smart in every way, but on that accord, I'd say they were actually pretty smart, right? And there was a certain point, I'm going to sum it up and talk about what's going on right now. Because I'm sure that's what everyone's here to listen to, what happened right now. But if you don't look back at what happened in history, history's going to keep on being doomed to repeat itself. And these evils that have happened before will prevail and always will prevail when good men do nothing. And the good people of the United States didn't really care back then what the ATF and FBI were doing. And it appears they don't care right now. Because when they went to retreat into these the bunkers, if you will, safe spaces, you can call it anything you want. I don't care what ideology somebody is, they should all agree that killing innocent women and children is always wrong. They went in there and they burned all of them. Now they said it was because the gases they were detonating in there were accidentally flammable. Why were you gassing caged up and quarantined in women and children? None of it makes any sense to me. None of it makes any sense to me. In my opinion, I just don't see how. Now, there's a lot of people out there that tend to be more Republican in nature that are going to say back the blue, no matter what. Back the ATF. There's other people that are saying just F the police, period, on both sides of the aisle. And there's a third group of people that are saying, well, you know what? They'll say, I'll still support my local sheriff's department, maybe their local PD, but screw all the Fed boys. I think I kind of sort of summarized it into three different categories. But is us arguing with people whether we support police or we don't support police, or all cops are bad or all cops are good, or there's some of both, because that's the three options I can think of. Is that just something to keep all of the plebes busy while they just laugh? Because I'm watching more of a police state forming in this country by the minute, by the hour, and by the day. And shoot, if the police keep expanding like they have in the last month, in 20 years from now, there'll be more police in this country than people who aren't. More federal police in this country than people who aren't. Now, people have often said, and there's still probably somebody on the internet right now saying this. They're saying, well, hold on a minute. Ain't nobody coming for your guns. You guys hear this, right? I mean, I do. There's probably somebody that just gave this stream a thumbs down and unsubscribed and left. They'll be back, though. They usually come back. So don't feel bad, guys. They said, you know what? This guy's nuts. Ain't nobody coming for your guns. Okay. And then there's other people that say they couldn't possibly take all your guns. There's 100 million gun owners in this country. Yeah, okay. That might be true. There's over 300 million guns in this country. They couldn't possibly take them all. Okay. I would disagree with both of those statements. Because who cares if there's 100 million gun owners in this country? If 99,999,000 of them just don't care and they'll just pay the tax, beg the crown, or just give them up, because a lot of people, I think that what this is just intimidation. I mean, they are confiscating real property too, don't get me wrong. But they're trying to scare people from wanting to buy lawfully owned property because they're afraid. If I buy this that's legal today, maybe tomorrow they'll come and confiscate it. And they remember things like Ruby Ridge and Waco, Texas. At least a smart person would. Right, Jesse Meek? Throw Jesse's up there because he's getting ready to head out. Nice to see you, man. Thanks for the super chat. And Jesse Meeks just left the super chat and said, throw that up on the screen. Thank you, Linda. Said, I'll have to catch the entire video tomorrow. Well, I hope you enjoy it, man. The ATF has officially become a terrorist organization. You know, I'm glad you said it because I was thinking that earlier today, and I don't think I thought of the word terrorist yet today. I said tyrannical, but a terrorist is someone that evokes fear through violence to promote some type of ideology. And I think no matter how you look at it, the ATF has become partisan. It's become political. It's become ideological. And I do believe it puts terror into people. And that's wrong because I've talked about this on this channel a lot. And I want to mention it again because this is really important. And God bless any of you who are listening right now that know more about what I'm talking about than I ever want to know. Because there's people that have mental illness in this country. There's people that struggle mentally every day, and they're really good people, and they're really, really just trying to cope with their disabilities that they were either born with or maybe they acquired it due to traumatic events. PTSD is something that can be acquired in many, many ways. And it's not a joke. It's not nothing to laugh at. It doesn't mean people are weak. There's people that could do like 100 sit-ups, push-ups, pull-ups, and like knock your lights out in one punch by the time I finish this sentence, that are just struggling every day to put one foot in front of the other because of PTSD. People who have social anxieties, people who have confidence problems. There's people out there that are literally like afraid of their own shadow, and it's just due to, you know, things that have happened to them in the past in real life, or it's just the way their brain's fired. Everybody doesn't have the same set of chemistry in their body, right? And with that said, mental health's a real thing. And if you cut off somebody's arm, that's physical trauma, and like everyone could just see that and just know that you damaged that person. And that person's not going to be whole anymore. And while mental health is just as real as physical health, I don't know which one's more important. It doesn't really matter because there's some people who are the happiest go lucky person. Everything's just working perfectly with their mental psyche, right? And they just literally like, I don't know, they grow old and they die. So your physical body matters. I know people that are literally built like a you-know-what brick house, you know, poop house, and just off themselves because of their mental health. So with that said, what is this doing to the mental health of Americans? Where people now have to fear a government, a tyrannical government? Because just remember, when the people fear the government, there's tyranny. When the government fears the people, there's liberty. When people have to be so scared of their government, who I think in a lot of people's opinion has become a terrorist organization, and because you purchased a lawful piece of property, you now have to walk around in shame? You have to retreat into the shadows? Now, I'm using leftist terminology. Do you guys remember that? When they said we want to give citizenship to every single person who illegally just flooded into this country, invaded it. They said we don't want to make those illegal immigrants live in the shadows. Those are illegal immigrants, people that provably broke the law and broke into our country. But the left says don't make them live in the shadows, but you, okay? Whether you're a natural born or a naturalized citizen, and I welcome all citizens to this country. Some of the best people I know are immigrants who have done it the right way and worked hard to be some of the best Americans that I know. If it wasn't fair to put illegal immigrants in the shadows because of their mental health, then why is it okay to put lawful owners of property, American citizens, in the shadows? Because that's what they're doing. Trying to make you afraid of your own shadow. Somebody who had the good faith and believed they were buying something to screw on the end of their gun to keep from polluting the environment with Stoddard solvent. VOCs, they're called volatile organic compounds, which among these could be things like benzene, right? And toluene, okay? They didn't want to put that in the water system, so they tried to trap it at the end so they could recycle it. In my opinion, that was the intent of these items. Now they have to be scared. Now they're supposed to be scared. Now, I'm not suggesting anybody should be scared. I'm not suggesting this should affect any of your self-esteem. But I do believe that's the intent of the government. Does anyone else believe with me? Or do you guys just think I'm just being super black-pilled? We're going to have some fun in this stream before it's over. I'm actually going to give something pretty cool away in a little while here. But I just wanted to establish, and this is just in my opinion, regular dude sitting in my shop. I don't think I'm any dumber than any of you or any smarter than you. But I have a feeling there's been people that are listening right now. Good people. I see lots of good people in this chat. You've at least thought about some, if not all of what I'm talking about, haven't you? Band Talk, I see you in the chat, and you're my friend, and I'm lucky to know you. You're a very spiritual person. You're a person who is very, like, I would say, in touch with, like, the soul. You're a very intrinsic person. What do you think, man? Do you think they're trying to destroy people's mental health in this country? Do you think they're trying to make people afraid? I see my friend Mateo in here, United States Marine. He brings up a good point. Potatoes will be the next thing the AFT goes after. Readily converts to a silencer. And if you have the intent to do so, in my opinion, probably quite effectively, actually. What did you think, man? What did you think, Mateo? You were a public servant for the United States of America. Among that, you took an oath to swear to protect and defend against enemies, foreign, domestic. What do you think? Are you scared, Mateo? I mean, you don't have to literally answer this. I'm just, some of you guys I know a little bit more about than I do others. I know Marines didn't get trained to be scared, did you? What do you guys think, by the way? All the veterans in here, you guys can chime in. Let's pick on the Marines for a minute, okay? Love all the Marines watching. Are Marines jerks because only jerks join the Marine Corps, or is it the Marine Corps converts them into that? I just have to ask. Help me out, guys. Seriously, though, shout out to all the veterans watching right now. And if there's any good cops out there or good sheriff's deputies, shout out to you too. If there's a constitutional loving sheriff's deputy listening right now, if there is one, that's got to be one of the most miserable places to be sitting right now, thinking, I'm going to have to stand there with my gun in between another badge-wearing thug with a gun, and I might have to take one to the vest, or where the vest isn't protecting, to protect the constitutionally protected rights. That's what that means, protected rights. That's who's supposed to protect those rights, is the government. I mean, that's literally what government officials are sworn to do, to uphold and to defend. That would mean that anybody who's taken an oath would actually have to stand in between you and the oath breaker, and they would have to take that bullet if they needed to. Hopefully they could absorb it in their armor and not die if they were actually doing their job and standing up but they have to be prepared to die to protect the people of the United States. I mean, why the heck do people go and fight foreign wars and many of them die? I don't think there's anybody that said, I'm just going to go do it because I want to be laid to rest out in the desert somewhere or the jungle somewhere, some foreign land. No, I think they do that because they're defending and protecting the Constitution of the United States. And when you're a defender and a protector, sometimes that you pay the price for that. I don't know. But here's the messed up part. These people that are coming and confiscating these solvent traps, forced reset triggers, coming and questioning people why they purchased too many guns. Too many guns? What's that even mean? Wait, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed unless you buy too many, says the Constitution nowhere, literally. These agents that are coming to people's homes saying, just hand it over and we'll destroy it. Would you trust them? Just hand it over. I don't know. I'm not here to give any legal advice. I'm not a cop. I'm not a lawyer. And don't take anything here other than just a conversation from a regular old dude in his shop talking to a bunch of regular dudes and chicks in real life. That's all we're doing. There's no legal advice on this channel. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to hand anything over. I wouldn't want to sign off on something asserting I destroyed it. We're going to take a quick look at a video that John Crump has, as well as, and this is literally, okay, of the AFT coming to somebody's house recently, very recently. And I'm going to go over some of the highlights to an article from Ammo Land. But before I do, thanks for being here, guys. I really appreciate all of you. Thanks so much for all of you who just hang out and offer moral support for each other, because that's very, very important. And I said this last week, and I want to say it again. You guys are all very, very important. You need to have confidence. You need to stay strong. I mean, if there's nothing worth fighting for or preserving, then I guess you really don't deserve any liberty. Remember that? Those who would give up an essential liberty for a little bit of perceived safety and security will actually wind up with neither and would deserve neither. That's what Ben Franklin said. Did you guys know that part of the oath of office, maybe not of office, but the oath of military service, I know for a fact, and I believe for all different officers, agents, part of those words puts you on the militia violent extremist list. Now, if that's not a conundrum, I don't know what is. Sir, we're here to investigate. Who? Investigate ourselves. Why? Well, because we're on the militia violent extremist list because we took an oath to be, I mean, think about what a conundrum this is. But do you really think the agents investigating themselves with potential to incarcerate and detain themselves? Probably not. They're just going to ignore that because I believe we live in a two-tiered society where there's the haves and the have-nots. And if you don't have the badge, and if you don't have the political clout, and if you're not on the right side of the New World Order, you'll get treated a certain way. But if you violate every principle of what the Constitution is, and to the American flag, and to the republic for which she stands, you could violate all of that. But if you're on that side with complete and utter impunity, with reward, with financial reward, with praise from all the cohorts, right? Think about it. But I appreciate you guys being here. Like I said, just the moral support, all of you guys supporting each other. Look, I lean on you guys for moral support, obviously. And there's a lot of you who rely on each other, just hanging out and being friends every Friday night in this stream and other places you guys hang out. Make sure you guys are there for each other. Because like I said, mental health is a real thing, and they're trying to make a lot of people scared and a lot of people depressed. And I don't want that. The intention of this stream is not for you to be depressed at all. But sometimes you have to talk about depressing topics for people just to wake up a little bit. Now, don't go woke. You go woke, you get broke, but wake up. Be awake, which is complete opposite of going woke. I know it kind of might have sounded like I said the same thing, but they're literally polar opposites. Awaken to what the heck's going on. Anyone that's sitting back saying they're not coming for my guns is like literally, I don't know what planet they're living on or what country they're living on. Don't know. But thanks for all the other ways you guys support. This channel does cost money, and I'm able to provide this stuff due to the generous support from the Patreon supporters. A lot of you guys have been there a long time. I appreciate you. Local supporters, which you can be a supporter over there for extra perks, awesome perks, actually. Or you can join totally for free and get tons of extra content that I can't show here on YouTube. So make sure you check out my locals community. Links in the description. And also all the channel members. I know last year a friend of ours gifted 10 random memberships. I hope some of you guys are here tonight. And there were quite a few more of you that just signed up on your own for a channel membership or renewed. And I really appreciate that, guys. That way you guys are my sponsors and I can talk about whatever I want. Because let me tell you what, there's a lot of companies that don't like people talking about the truth and don't like people talking about what the heck's actually going on. But it's pretty hard for me to be canceled by the industry because I've never accepted a penny from them. In fact, while you're watching this live, I literally purposely don't even have ads on. If you're watching it on replay, you may see them later, you may not, but I just want to keep this where people can get right into this stream while it's live and just jump right in the chat without having to watch an advertisement. So, all right, let me check this out here. Oh, meanwhile, all of you who are channel members, Patreon supporters, local supporters, get over there. You have less than 24 hours, and there's a little GAW going on. So make sure you check out that community post if you're a supporter on YouTube here. If you're on Patreon, go log into Patreon and check. Same thing for local supporters. Now, also, for all the free members on locals, there's a post for you. Just scroll through the feed. You guys can literally go sign up for my locals right now, totally free. And what's cool about locals is there's ways you can support the channel for free, and it's like a total win-win. But anyways, go over there. I'm serious. Supporters, there's one that you can enter. Free members, there's ones you can enter. So literally giving 4 things away right now. And one of them, you don't have to have ever paid any type of monthly supporter subscription. So, all right, I'm going to share this. This is from, let me come over here. All right, so I'm sharing this tab. This comes from my friend John Crump News Channel. It's about 2 minutes long. Hopefully you guys can hear this because the audio is a little soft. And this is basically them coming to, as John says, inquire. To me, it seems like they're coming for this man's solvent trap. And he says this is a viewer named Nick that sent this in. I don't know who Nick is, but if Nick's watching this right now, shout out. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to give you guys legal advice, but I'll just tell you my personal opinion. This is my personal opinion one more time here. Hi, Susan. In my personal opinion, I think he did a heck of a job, okay? Let me make sure this is up. I'm trying to figure out. It's different when I'm doing. Well, there's not much to see. It's pretty blurred out. So really, you guys are just going to be listening because I believe he had his phone maybe in like an inconspicuous space. But listen in and hopefully you guys can hear this.
Hey, sir, how are you? Good.
Hey, Nick, what's going on, man?
How's it going?
Hey, with the ATF.
Okay.
I'm hearing about a solvent trap that you ordered.
Okay.
You still have it?
I'm not going to answer any questions.
Okay. Well, we're actually here to recover them because they're being used as suppressor.
We're here to recover because they've been deemed as a suppressor. We're here to recover. Just let that sink in. So they're there to take something that this person most likely purchased lawfully.
You have a warrant?
I don't have a warrant. If you let me finish, I can talk to you. Okay?
Yep.
They're being used as suppressors. Now, we're just here to pick them up. If you don't have it, you can sign that you don't have it anymore.
I'm not going to sign anything.
Okay, don't sign anything.
He asked if they had a warrant right away, which I think was very smart. He said, we're just here to pick it up. That's the second time I've heard them admit that they're coming to take property. They just asked him to sign something stating he destroyed it himself. He's saying no.
So what will happen is if you're caught with it, we'll prosecute you federally.
Sure.
Threatening to prosecute him federally. There's the scare tactics. Now they're trying to affect his mental health, in my opinion.
For an NFA item. Okay. You're obviously.
For an NFA item, find where solvent traps anywhere in the NFA. I'll keep waiting, but I want to hang out with you guys and talk about a lot more stuff tonight. They're here for a National Firearms Act item that refers to a very specific piece of legislation, and you can't find solvent trap anywhere in there. In my opinion, you can't.
They're going to be on the radar now. I appreciate all the cooperation. We just came to pick it up and have it destroyed. But since you're being such a polite person,
I mean,
we'll leave it at that. We know what you're using it for, correct? I mean, you bought a jig with it for your AR-15.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There goes the passive aggressive. We know what you're using it for, right? And then he says, I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
So
this isn't the first time we've done this.
if you want to come back with a warrant, I mean, you can do that.
Okay, absolutely.
He mentions warrant again, which in my opinion is a good idea. to ask for that.
For me, please.
I'm sorry?
Take your hand out of your pocket for me.
You're on my property. I can put my hands on it.
We're law enforcement. We're talking to you in an official capacity, so
You're
I'm
on
not
my
have your hand in
property.
your pocket. So we're not trying to be jerks here.
You are though. You're
We're not.
the
We're
ATF.
not.
You're the ATF. Come
We're
on.
idiots.
We're not trying to be jerks here. We're just coming to, take your property, alleged property. I have no idea if this person had this property or not, if they ever had it, if they still do. How would I know? But we're just coming for property. We're not trying to be jerks, though.
It's
No, I didn't say that.
what'd
I
you
said
say?
you're the ATF.
Correct.
Your entire job is to take away people's guns.
I don't think you have any idea what our
Bingo. Your entire job is to take people's guns, he said.
job
I know
is actually.
everything about your job.
Oh,
All it
please
is
tell
to
me.
erode the Second Amendment
Okay.
shall not be infringed.
So violent criminals with guns that we take off the street. That's
At Waco, at Ruby Ridge.
Oh my gosh.
My
Bro,
dogs.
You need to
I
quit.
need to keep my dogs
You
in
need
the
to
house.
quit reading so
Give
many
me a
books.
break.
He literally brought up Waco and Ruby Ridge to a couple ATF agents' face. Wow.
Yeah, it was
You're watching too
close.
many shows and
Yeah,
reading too
that's
many
it.
books.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm sure we'll find you again someday.
No, you won't.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm sure we'll find you again someday. That sounds like scare tactics. I don't know what else that could mean.
have a good one.
Yeah,
I
you too.
appreciate the cooperation.
Take it easy.
Yes, sir.
Watch out for the dogs, guys.
Watch out for the dogs, guys. Look, this is footage that is allegedly of ATF agents that were sent to, according to John Crump, a viewer named Nick. I can't confirm the authenticity of this, but I do know there's been a lot of stuff going around right now. So I don't know. I see a couple people in the chat saying this is fake. I'm not the originator of this content, but it's being alleged by a reporter that this is going on. So now we also saw footage from like a doorbell cam of the ATF just coming to someone's house recently asking about, why did you purchase multiple firearms? We saw that one, right? Yeah, again, I can't confirm the authenticity of this. I'm just literally opining on another YouTube video here, but wow. Yeah, Jim Grady says, watch out for the dogs. Was that a reference to them being in the habit of shooting folks' dogs? Oh, I'm sure it was. Yeah, crazy stuff. And 80 XR920 says Crump reported an hour ago that they called his job. Okay. If it's literally an hour ago, I was streaming live while that happened. So, look, there's a lot of stuff right now that is completely documented, like for sure. And allegedly, this is documentation right here, right? I guess anything could be a deep fake. Who knows? But I don't know. If you guys just want my personal opinion, I think it's probably real. I don't see any reason why it's not. And if I'm put in a place to trust either the AFT or some random person that I don't know, I would probably trust the person that I don't know over the AFT, right? If that was my two choices. Yeah, there's I think it's real. There's people in the chat right now that are proclaiming that it's fake. I don't know. But I do know that it's a real thing right now. There's many, many reports going on that people are coming in. ATF, rather, is coming for people's forced reset triggers. I believe either predominantly or maybe exclusively the Rare Breed brand of forced reset trigger. Because they just arbitrarily said those are machine guns all of a sudden. Remember, these are the same people that just out of the blue, actually Trump told them to do this. President Trump told them. He started this new wave, just so you guys know. Now, we knew what would happen if a Democrat ever got in. They'd make it 10 times worse. And you're seeing the 10 times worse. But Trump started this with the bump stock. They declared a stock, whether attached to a firearm or not, to be a machine gun in and of itself. Now, a machine gun's a firearm, okay? Machine gun has the word gun in it. How can something be a machine gun when it's not a gun at all? You literally look up the definition of a firearm. A bump stock, just in and of itself, couldn't possibly be a firearm or a gun, but Trump told them to deem it so. And they did. Now these triggers, because under the Biden administration, it's a trigger. And by the way it mechanically functions in a firearm, in my opinion, literally provable that it's not a machine gun. They just declared that the trigger is a machine gun, whether it's in a firearm or not. Now, this is going to sound far-fetched to people at first, but you need to think about it this way. If you just had a scrap of steel sitting there, that piece of steel could be, with a person with a certain intent and knowledge and means, be converted into almost any metal parts you could think of. And what are machine gun parts made of? Metal. Besides the bump stock, that was plastic, but I digress. So is literally anything a machine gun? I mean, how much further do we have to go before they literally just skip all this BS, all the formalities? Just say, you know what? You're other than with this, and I'll use the former vice president. Let's go, Brandon, by the way. In case there was still one Biden supporter left in the chat, let's go, Brandon. The worst former vice president, in my opinion, of all time. And I would also note, according to Susan Wiki and Time Magazine, I would note the most fortified of all time. When is it going to get to the point, guys? I'm being dead serious, that you walk and kick a piece of scrap sheet metal that fell off someone's fender. You're walking down the road because the IRS came and stole all your money. Killed your wife and your dog, so you're alone. You got so depressed and scared you're now homeless, and you're walking down the road and you kick a can on the side of the road. And they said, your body briefly came in contact with that piece of metal. It's hereby, since it can be converted to something within 8 hours in a machine shop, a machine gun. So you just possessed a machine gun. How long is it going to be till that? Why do they even need those formalities? Why don't they literally just say, hey, you know what? You're other than, and this is the former vice president's word, the new social order. You're other than the new social order, so just lock them up and throw away the key. I mean, am I like being super hyperbolic right now? Or does some of you guys kind of see where I'm coming from? We could only be a stone's throw away with this precedent that this is setting from them literally doing that. Just saying, I don't like you, just lock them up. My friend John Crump also reported just about a week ago, and I wanted to do a video the second he gave it to me, because I do appreciate it if you're listening, John, or if you watch this later. He sends me info a lot of times a little bit ahead of time so I can get out to you guys as soon as possible. I've been battling this Kung Pao chicken, whatever you want to call it, this Kung Pao plague. I've been battling this thing on and off for a month. I'm pretty good to go now, but there was days where my voice was out so much I couldn't even do a video. But literally, this auto key card. Okay, John broke the story that there's documents that literally prove that the ATF knows that something like this is not a machine gun, and they've deemed it before. Oh, there he is. There's Crump. Throw the super chats up here real quick, Linda. I know there was a couple of them, and I just now looked over at the chat and saw that Crump's here. I mean, literally, guys, this is stuff that on paper is provably not so, but the ATF is now just saying it is what it is, and now we're going to come to your house and take it. Now, I'm sure I missed a few things along the way, but that's the moral of the story, in my opinion. John Crump Live, thanks, man. With the $20 super chat, longtime channel member, and said 2A EDU's the man. Well, I appreciate it, dude, and thanks for the encouragement, and thanks for all you're doing out there. Both of us have been out here trying to hang out with the people and keep the troops rallied sick. And I know you've been sick yourself, and keep up the good fight, dude. I appreciate it. And Grump's here right now, and I'm not trying to give you guys a homework assignment, but there were some people just a few minutes ago, John, that said that they said the video was fake, okay? Now, you obviously know that my source on it is your channel and your Ammo Land article. I don't have privy to any behind-the-scenes information, but I'm going to side with it's probably not fake. And I know you can't give up all of your sources, but if you guys want to ask anything about the authenticity of that video, maybe John knows a little more about me. Mr. C with the super chat. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, dude. You've been a long-time channel supporter too, man. Good to see you. He says, if they cheat again in November, cheating at a deck of cards, Susan. If people are cheating at a game of poker in November, right, Mr. C? Right? Then what do we do? Whew. All I can say is this, Mr. C. Anybody running out and doing something stupid, that actually hurts our cause, okay? I've said this so many times. I'll say it again. First of all, I'm not George Washington. I don't know how to lead men. I'm not a military man, okay? Second of all, we're already in a civil war. We're already in some sort of revolutionary war right now. And it's a cultural one. And politics is downstream from culture. And we need to do everything we can right now as peacefully as possible to win this culture war and to win things in the court of public opinion. Because that's really the only way you can go over the government's head is in the court of public opinion. And we need to convince enough people that we want to keep America, or if it's already gone, that we want her back and we demand America back right now. If all else fails, there's other methods that we saw in 1775. But I do want people to think about this. The Revolutionary War, as we call it, lasted 20 years about. This wasn't just something that happened real short and real sweet. It was something that was fought with the pen first, with the quill and the inkwell. And there were many letters written to the King of England. This is literally provable. Now, we end up in this conundrum, and they sat there and they redressed their grievances. And when they felt there was no way for them to be heard whatsoever, then they basically went to the bullet box, right? People talk about the soap box, the ballot box, the jury box they'll talk about with the court system. And then they say, the bullet box. I just want to remind people of this. I'm not a constitutional scholar, but I've read it more than I think some people have, only because people think that one day everything was perfect in the colonies, then it wasn't, and then on the third day they just took up their muskets and started shooting. That's actually not what happened. Because if they would have, the very first day, they wouldn't have had the people on their side. And if they wouldn't have fought with honor and dignity with the pen and with their words, and they hadn't tried to rationalize with and say, King of England, no, we won't accept this. All the different forms of redress of grievance that they did, in their opinions, and I actually share this opinion with them, they wouldn't have been doing it in an honorable way. They wouldn't have been doing it in a godly way. Because God talks about turning swords into plowshares and plowshares into swords. If you believe in the Bible, you don't just go out and kill everything that you don't like. Not immediately anyways, right? So when they wrote the Declaration of Independence, and this is why I'm mentioning this right now, and this is why, if you ever think it needs to go to that final box, okay, if somebody did think it needed to, I'm not advocating for that. I'll say it again. I'm not George Washington. I don't know how to advocate for or lead troops. I'm admitting that. But I do think I'm okay at just sitting here like a regular person talking about stuff that regular people need to talk about. And that's what I'm doing right now. But if they would have just instantly said in the 1760s, that's it, Lexington Green, they would have lost before they even started, because American people wouldn't have been on their side. And God wouldn't have been on their side. Providence wouldn't have been on their side. They fought long and hard doing it the right way. I know a lot of you guys have been fighting long and hard doing it the right way, and you are right now, but here's the problem, and this is a huge problem. Many Americans aren't fighting at all. They're doing absolutely nothing. They're lazy and pathetic, and they're losing all of the liberties that they actually deserve to lose. And I'm just putting it bluntly, not to try to get you guys depressed, just to say that's just what I see going on right now. But slowly, surely, after a long train of abuses and usurpations, right? Pursuing invariably, designed to reduce them under absolute despotism, they realized it became their right, it became their duty to throw off that tyrannical government. And by the time more of the regular people saw the despotism and they saw the tyranny, they were getting on the side of the patriots. And the strength in numbers for two reasons, because they needed more troops, but they also needed the court of public opinion to prevail. Now, there were still Tories and people that were sided with the crown, with the redcoats, all the way to the end of the war. And some of them left and went back to Britain to never even look at America again. There were a lot of other people that just didn't care. They were totally apathetic. They were doing nothing to help. They weren't necessarily going to help the redcoats, but they weren't going to help the patriots either. They weren't going to help the Continental Forces either. But they needed a lot of people to win the court of public opinion and just to have a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. Well, that would mean a well-trained, at the ready, disciplined fighting force to be reckoned with, and it just takes a lot of people, and they knew that. They had to win in the court of public opinion first. And then when they wrote the Declaration of Independence, look at the end of it. Before they signed it, which would have been a death warrant if they lost. And everything goes one way or another depending on who wins. Whoever wins gets to write the history books. You guys realize, like, what we're talking about right now will never even be heard by anybody unless, of course, we win this culture war. If we lose the culture war, they're just going to delete all of our videos and nobody will ever know about them again. And it's always been that way in history, not just in the United States, but literally everywhere. You know, they burned the library at Alexandria and probably set the world's knowledge and technology back. Some people say thousands of years. Some people even say tens of thousands of years. Many scholars believe that there were documents and patents and inventions held at the library at Alexandria. Now, this is in ancient times that we've still yet to evolve our intelligence enough to understand, but it might take us thousands of years to get that back. Same thing if we lose this republic. We'll either never ever get it back, or it'll be so many thousands of years you'll never get to see it again. Your children won't, and neither will your children's children. But at the end, before they wrote what would have been a death sentence if they lost, now they're considered heroes because we won. You're a hero if you win. You're dead if you lose when it comes to stuff like this. And they knew that. They knew that when they signed this document around July 4th, we'll just say, 1776. It says July 4th on top. They said we have the people on our side. That meant that they had started to win the culture war. Very, very important, and they knew that. And they said we have Providence on our side. Now, generally, that would have been the Christian God for most of the founding fathers. Not all of them. And it may not be the Christian God for you, but it may be for somebody else that's listening right now. I'm not the arbiter of your morals. I don't know what you all believe in, but there has to be some type of perceived providence that the people believe that they're doing the right thing. That we, the people, and I don't just mean the couple hundred people in this chat. I mean, like everybody, the majority of the people in this country, there has to be a tie that binds. What's happening? What's happening, Frank Hunt? How you doing, man? Me and you talk about this. We were just talking about this on the phone last week, Frank. It's like there has to be some type of tie that binds. I don't know how much of that we have in this country right now. I do see some things to be optimistic about, though. I do see some politicians that are actually growing a pair and getting out there proposing bills that say repeal the National Firearms Act. You need to get behind those people. Now, maybe you guys just disagree with this fundamental saying that I didn't invent, but I always like to remind you guys of. And, you know, I think if you're a Christian, you certainly believe in this, but even if you're not, you could definitely believe in this. You guys know what I'm saying? If you have any faith in anything besides the federal government, you should be able to believe in this. And maybe this could be a tie that could bind us all together. Look, evil will always prevail when good men do nothing. And there's still probably people, maybe even one or two in this chat, although I doubt it, because like I truly mean it when I say how lucky I am to hang out with you guys. There's still probably people that are like, I will never vote for anything or call anybody or do anything. There's a lot of people that are just bragging lately, and it's kind of making me appalled that it's become so fashionable that to be the ultimate patriot, you do nothing. Whew, I'd like to see some of these internet commandos go back to the mid 1700s and tell people like Thomas Jefferson would have probably whipped this whole chat with one pinky finger, including me. I'm part of the chat too. Here, I'll make myself part of the chat so you guys don't think I'm talking about you guys. No, I'm talking about the American people. See, I'm in the chat. George Washington. Half of his pinky finger would have probably whipped all of us. I'd like to see what those boys would have said. The people that founded this country, if we would have said, no, we won't get involved in government or nothing. We're just going to be free because we declared it on the internet. You guys know what I'm saying, though, right? Now, there's a lot of stuff right now that does seem like a complete waste of time. I get it. And like our buddy Mr. C was saying, that rigged game of cards, they cheated on at a poker game. Some people somewhere, right, in a swamp were playing poker in November, and they cheated at that poker game. You guys know what I'm talking about. There's a famous city that's built literally on a swamp. And people were playing cards and they cheated. A lot of people believe that, and I get that. However, the Founding Fathers talked a lot about how the system was rigged, but they had to go through all the pieces of it. What do you guys think the tie that binds is? It doesn't really matter. Here's what let me phrase this another way. Doesn't really matter what the government thinks in the end. And it didn't matter what the government thought of Great Britain. It really didn't, if you think about it. Because when the Declaration of Independence had made its way to the king, he said something to the effect of, nothing important happened today. Little did he realize what happened that day. The Founding Fathers didn't say we have the King of England on our side. They didn't say we have the laws of the British Parliament on our side. They said we have the people on our side and we have Providence on our side. If you guys ever want to win this, and I think you want to win, I do, we just need to keep on remembering politics are downstream from culture. And yes, Andrew Breitbart said that years ago, but I'm continuing to say it. He's dead now. Okay. And he was a lot probably better speaker than me, but I always took that from what he said, and I want us to keep remembering that. If you can win the culture war, the politics will fall in line. But I see a lot of people not really willing to do anything at all, actually. Once in a while, somebody will do something stupid. Look, what I mean by stupid is this. Putting yourself in a position where someone goes and does something violent where there's zero chance they could ever win, like 0.000 chance. To me, that kind of just falls under stupid. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to judge those people's souls for things they do. I don't know. But people like to talk more about stupid stuff that would never work instead of actually getting out there, making America cool again, making guns cool again, making the right that was endowed by your creator and affirmed in the First Amendment to petition your government for redress of grievance. I've even seen people that claim to be patriots that say that you're unpatriotic if you were to demand something of your government and put it in writing. Well, the Founding Fathers, of which ratified, actually wrote in 1789, wrote the Declaration, not the Declaration, the Bill of Rights, wrote the Bill of Rights, ratified it fully. 1791. They wrote that down, though, to petition your government against redress of grievance. I must be missing something, but I believe that means that it's your natural right that the government's supposed to defend, where you can let them know what you don't approve of, what you are no longer willing to allow anymore. And I think that's okay, and I think you should do more of that. If they're doing a lousy job, your representative, if the only reason they're supposed to exist at all is to protect your natural rights, these are laws of nature and of nature's God. That's how Thomas Jefferson penned it in the Declaration. Tell them you don't. I mean, if you go to, look, people nowadays are shooting each other over cold French fries. If you've got cold French fries, just tell the people working there that they're cold, and maybe if they hear it from enough people, they'll figure something out and start giving people hot fries. And I know that's a very small example of what's going on, but people do nothing and then wonder why nobody's listening to them. And I'm not talking you guys, okay? I'm just reminding you, there's a lot of people that you know that are just literally just wanting to do nothing. And then they complain and they get mean and they get nasty, but I don't know. Saint Vicari with the member super chat. Thanks a lot, man. One of the benefits of being a channel member is you get a free super chat every couple months. And he's saying fight like H3LL. Now, look, we do have to fight like hell, man. I mean, look, it's close. I mean, I'm not trying to be a black pill tonight at all, but we really have to start thinking about things. Like, once you start to think about this, and some of this is just semantics, but it's the way it sits right within you and that you're willing to fight for, okay? Remember, fighting in the court of public opinion is very, very important. And it was very, very important for the founding fathers of this country. Literally provably important. He started debating between, okay, are we just so close to losing this country it's barely recognizable, or if we already lost it and we need to, while there's still enough people left to believe in it, get it back? Because I didn't see 4 branches of government in any of the founding documents, and it sure looks like we have one right now in many, many, many ways. It's this simple. But you guys need to we need to remind the American people of this. I need to do a better job. All of you need to do a better job. I need to do a way better job than you guys. I'm sure you guys are doing a better job than me, is what I'm trying to get at. This is not me condemning anybody. But we need to just remind people, look, all men are created equal, and they're endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. And among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, look, they're just a nasty person or just trying to argue for the sake of arguing if they disagree with any of those 3 things. That's the definition of, I mean, beautiful. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Doesn't mean you're guaranteed to be happy, but that you have the right to pursue it. And happiness is something you have to find from within. But you have the right to pursue it. You have the right to try, and nothing's ever going to be perfect. But you have the right to try to make things a little better for yourself or for your family. For your children, your children's children, of course you do. Also, we need to start reminding people more. These are laws of nature and of nature's God, endowed by our Creator. You also need to remind them that a government would be instituted among men. And the only reason, literally, the only reason this government would even be allowed to exist, the only reason it was even formed, because they talked about not having a government at all. Right? In the Federalist Papers, is to protect your natural rights. At first they said, well, maybe we shouldn't have a government at all. And they said, if men were angels, we wouldn't need a government. If men were angels, we'd need no government at all. But since men are not angels, we're going to have to put a government in place to protect people's natural rights from other citizens, from other Americans. Because they knew there's a petty tyrant in almost all of us. Because everybody's a sinner and everybody has some kind of something in them that's not quite good. They knew that. Men are not angels, okay? Obviously. And then they said, well, but hold on. Before we put this government in, it has to have the ultimate of checks and balances. And they said, well, if the government were angels, we wouldn't need any checks and balances. But since the government is certainly not angels, we're going to need both internal checks. That's within itself. That's the Bill of Rights. That's the Constitution. That's the judiciary system. That's the way we have a republic, a representative constitutional republic within the Congress. By the way, we had it in the Senate too, not just the House. State legislatures picked senators at that time when it was written. That has since changed with an amendment to the Constitution. But we would have a representative form of government. But they added one more thing. They said, even that's not enough. We need both internal and external checks. What do you guys think those external checks were? Or are? Is? That's the American people. That's you. I hope that never means anything like Lexington or Concord. But I know right now for a fact it means winning in the court of public opinion. Getting more people on America's side. Rather than this communist utopia, new social order, the former vice president calls it. He's called it New World Order. I mean, yeah. I love the rest of the world, but I want America first right now. We need to take care of ourselves. We have a lot of problems here. Screw the New World Order. Screw the new social order. I like the order of 1776, 1788, 1791. I think there was a lot more order in this country back then, right? Marco Polo with a super chat. Thanks, man. And thanks for being a longtime channel member and channel supporter. By the way, supporters over on Locals, Patreon, channel members, even free Locals members. Marco helped out with a pretty cool GAW, so go read the post. It's in the feed over on Locals, I promise. And channel members community post and Patreon. He said, thanks, 2A-EDU. Keep fighting. Good night, Locals. He's going to be on Locals tomorrow night. He's saying good night, and then he said Locals. So I'll be streaming on Locals is what he's talking about tomorrow night, Saturday, where I definitely can touch guns while live. And that's a lot of fun, too. I found the mute button, so I didn't blow you guys' eardrums out there. Member super chat from Band Talk. Thanks, man. He says, these are the times that try men's souls. And they do. They do. It's like, and look, I'm not giving myself too much credit. I don't think I have the what, like, even remotely figured out. But I start to get close to figuring out the what. And then I start to think about how and to figure out the how. And the how and the what can both coincide with each other sometimes, and they can also be contradictory to themselves. And we can't fall into the trap of, well, do the ends justify the means? Because if the means are so messed up and you're justifying them with this utopian end, that end that you've been justifying this whole time never actually comes. And that is what Franklin was talking about. Those who would give up an essential liberty, right, for a perceived security or safety are going to deserve neither, and they're ultimately going to wind up with neither. That do the ends justify the means is a fallacy, in my opinion. Because they'll say, well, in the name of a utopia, communism, okay, just think about this. The Cultural Revolution in China, the Communist Revolution, okay. So to get this perfect utopia where everything's perfect, we have to kill hundreds of millions of people? That's what happened under Chairman Mao. Now, hold on a minute. But then somebody will come in, and it's usually somebody that's more of the communist side of thinking, says, but hold on. As long as the ends, meaning this utopia at the other side, justifies everything bad we had to do in the middle, it's worth it. What do you think for those? And it's 150 million. It's maybe 200 million. We'll never know how many, but it's a lot. A lot. It actually makes you want to cry if you think about how many, because here's the problem, guys. There's this plague that comes from China. There's the plague to our economy. There's so many things going on with the CCP that makes a lot of people where they don't like China. The CCP, definitely, I would not as vigorously as I could. But you got to remember, there's a lot of people in China, probably most, actually. Now, people aren't all good or all bad anywhere. I'm sure there's terrible, morally deficient, nasty people that live in China, obviously, just like there is in America. But there's a lot of beautiful people that just love their family as much as you do. And they worship their God or your God or whoever. And they have spirituality like you do, and they have feelings, and they care about people And they just want tomorrow to be a little better for their kids too. So hold on, how could the ends, this utopian end, which is a logical fallacy, this is what I'm getting at here, can't exist. How could that justify the means? Tell that to the hundreds of millions of people that Mao killed and had killed. People living whatever stage of their life. Every breath you take is a gift of God. You could be 89 years old, which you've lived a great life if anyone's watching and is in that age group. You still don't necessarily want to die right now when you've still got things that you want to accomplish. Shoot, there was a time when 40 seemed old, and now I'm 43. It doesn't matter if it was old people, young people, but they just indiscriminately killed, well, we don't know how many, but certainly over 100 million people. I wonder if those people thought the current state of the CCP, if that is the end, I don't think they're done yet, if that justified killing all of those people. There's nothing to justify. You can't justify it. Look, if you try to justify giving up any freedom or any liberty, you're going to lose both. Anyone that says, well, I'll just give up this so the government can keep me safe, they're basically saying, I want to be a dog in a cage, in my opinion. And when we can get that way of thinking more mainstream, here's the problem. If you literally walked up to almost anyone on the street and said, do you care if I put you in a cage like a dog and make you scared and feed you just meager rations, how many people would say yes? Now, there's always going to be somebody somewhere that might, but statistically, nobody's going to want that. But they're voting for people right now. Somehow or another, somebody's voting. I get it, guys. There's discrepancies. There's people that don't have any faith. But trust me, there's lots of real people out there voting for this crap, okay? A lot of people are. There's people that are literally trying to vote in stuff. I mean, we just passed what's called a new Green Deal. This is almost more communism than a lot of communism itself. Remind the people about the Cultural Revolution in China. Remind people about places like Auschwitz and camps from the National Socialist German Workers' Party. Talk to people about the unholy alliance of a controlling government having an unholy alliance with corporations for a certain unilateral thought police. Oh, that would be Mussolini in Italy around the same time as that Reich in Germany that was supposed to last 1,000 years. We're literally passing a lot of the same policies they are. And people are eager for it. While if you walked up to anybody and said, do you care if I put you in a chamber with toxic gases? Do you care if I literally put you in a cage? They would say no. There's a lot of logical fallacies going on right now. And if you think what I'm talking about is just absurd, it's like, well, come on, that's absurd. Well, think about it. Of course it's absurd. But if we let absurdity become mainstream, and we let being true Americans and being liberty-minded become this little place where we're all hidden back in the shadows, we're back to that other saying I like to use, truth is treason in the empire of lies. You become the idiot. You become the liar if you just keep it all to yourself. By the way, I'm not trying to get anybody depressed. I'm trying to do nothing but encourage you all right now. There's a time for choosing, certainly in this country right now. I'll ask you guys a quick question. You don't have to answer it because this isn't me calling anybody out or shaming you if you didn't. If you want to, you can. Show of hands. How many people either wrote, called, carrier pigeon, whatever, okay? How many people somehow forwarded the message to Marjorie Taylor Greene that you also want to repeal the NFA? I'm just asking. Think about it. I don't know. There's lots of stuff to get completely black-pilled about, and there's a lot of stuff to complain. But here's what I suggest for you guys, because I want you all to be happy people and have good mental health. Look, you can't ignore something. You can't just stick your head in the sand anymore. An ostrich does it to make itself look like a bush to camouflage itself. That ain't going to work. We're in the information state, okay? After 9/11, they passed the Patriot Act. They know everything you do more than you know what you're doing half the time than you do. Just, you're not going to hide anymore. Just realize that. Okay? So I think it's high time that people should start literally saying, like, okay, let's not be black-pilled. We need to talk about all of this cold, hard reality, though, because we can't just put our head in the sand and ignore it, because we've all been doing it way too long. If your congressman says they support the new gun control bill, whatever it happens to be at the time, call them up and say, no, shall not be infringed. I shall vote against you, and I will do my best with every breath in my body to get you fired. Call them up and tell them that. Call up Marjorie Taylor Greene and say, hey, look, I'm only one person, but I need you to know this. I'm up here in the great state of Michigan, and I have your back down there in the South in Georgia, and I'm with you. You get that NFA repeal, girl, and there's some Michigan boys who will have your back, boys and girls. Shout out to the lovely Jane Locke and Linda and Lori DeVries and all these awesome women I see from Michigan hanging out in the chat tonight, okay? I don't know. Or you could just do nothing. I think that stuff does matter, and it will matter. And yeah, you're only one grain of sand, and if you throw a grain of sand on the ground, it's just a grain of sand. But a handful of it's a little clump of sand. Enough clumps, then it becomes a pile, then it's a mound, then it's a hill, then it's a foothill, then it's a mountain. Let me word this backwards one more way, and this is to offer encouragement. I'm going to read some chats and have some fun for the last 20 minutes here because I want to give some stuff away. I mean, I've been having fun all night, actually, just kind of out of the corner of my eye. I'll catch up on all these chats, by the way, after we're done. I always check on them on the weekend, and that's how I know to keep coming back because you guys are worth hanging out with, okay? So you sit there and you think about it, and it's like, yeah, I'm only one person. But if there's a mountain of people that are like, no, we need to repeal the NFA, which then the ATF's gone. You guys get that, right? They're gone because there's no reason. Now, they might govern tobacco and alcohol, and we need to work on that too. This is just more of a Second Amendment related channel, okay? I don't drink a drop, guys, but I don't think they have the right to regulate that the way they do either, if you want my quick opinion on it. Okay. So if you're nobody, but eventually, if there's enough nobodies, it equals somebody. It equals that one grain of sand becoming a mountain eventually. It works the same way on the other side too, though. If there was one Fed boy in this whole country, just imagine this, one Fed boy, and I'm just talking to 200 people in the chat right now, let alone 100 million gun owners. Just hypothetically, think about this. If there was only one Fed boy in the whole country, and he was going to come confiscate everyone's guns, how would that work? I don't even need to wait. You don't even need to answer. We already know how that would work. Okay. Somehow, though, well, not you. And look, we don't want to blame our parents or our grandparents, but the generations of we the people, okay, from day one all the way till now, too many people, too many times, sat there and did nothing. Because remember, at one time, there was no federal agents. There was no ATF at one time. You guys know that, right? There was no IRS because, look, one of the main reasons we did our redress of grievances of the king, won that culture war back in the late 1700s, then won the physical war was because they were taxing us. We didn't have an IRS at one time. In fact, the income tax is 100 years old-ish. This country's been a country way longer without a federal income tax than with, even though that sounds totally insane right now. But it's true. At one time, there weren't any Fed boys or three-letter agencies. There were none. Then we allowed there to be one. Well, there had to have been the first person that got sworn in. You guys see? Look, they started with one, and they ended up with a mountain full. We started with this huge, huge mountain of patriots, and one at a time, as their nothing kept growing, exponentially ours started shrinking. There's your friend. There's your neighbor. There's your neighbor's neighbor. Your friend of a friend. You start to spread the good fight, patriotism through this culture war. You can start picking off backstabbing, traitorous, treasonous representatives one by one. getting people in there that are more of, and again, I'm not saying she's perfect, nothing like that. Although God bless her, from what I understand, somebody tried to get her killed with swatting her. Back to Marjorie Taylor Greene again. But I'll tell you what, I like where she's at on the Second Amendment. Okay. Repeal the NFA, repeal the ATF. You guys do know this, right? If there becomes over, let's see here, 218, if there's 218 United States representatives that say repeal the NFA, it gets repealed through the House. If there's 51 senators, depending if they do dirty tricks or if they don't do dirty tricks, it's supposed to be a filibuster, which would take a 60 vote threshold, but they don't honor that much anymore either. But either 51 or 60 votes in the Senate, then it would be repealed. And then if there's a president who would sign it. I know that sounds like a lot. Once you start thinking about the president, yeah, the former vice president, right? But in my opinion, if you're not rallying around the couple good ones that are in office, many, many more good people on the local levels, schools will become indoctrination camps. That's why there's so many sheep and idiots running around this country, not teaching kids about the Second Amendment, not teaching kids about gun safety, about the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and to keep and bear arms, and petition your government or redress of grievance, and that you can't have your property taken without due process of law. They're not even teaching that in schools anymore. So if you feel so frustrated that you'll never be able to reach the president, get a hold of your local school board elected public servants, your local township trustee, board of trustees, whatever it's called in your area, your county board of commissioners. I don't know if she's still here, but I saw just out of the corner of my eye earlier, one of my county commissioners, Dr. Don Asper. Get a hold of those people, your state legislature, your state House and Senate, your federal representatives, your federal senator. I don't know. You might be wasting a little time here and there. But if everybody does it, we won't be wasting any time. But you're guaranteed not to get anywhere if you literally do nothing. That's just my opinion. Yeah, Jane Locke, 1913, brought on the Federal Reserve. That's literally insane, by the way. A corporation that's running the money and printing the money. Don't get me started on that. And the IRS to collect the money and pay for the Federal Reserve fiat money and terrorize the people. That's about it, Jane. That's about it. Did they take the same oath you did? I don't know. Good night, Christopher Bishop. I see you're heading out. Get a hold of those rhinos, Alan LeBlanc. If that's the case, get with some of the women, men, fellows, fellettes, whatever you guys call each other from where you're from. Get with some good people and, hey, work on getting them out of there. Maybe you want to run, dude. I'm not joking either. Maybe you can't. Maybe you can. Maybe you can't, but you know a friend that would really, really serve and uphold the Constitution. Maybe give them the encouragement they need to run. Jesse Meek with another super chat. Thanks, Jesse. I appreciate it, man. He says, ha, ha, ha. Just listen to a bit more before rack time. There's absolutely a prerequisite to be alert to join the Marines. I've sworn the oath 4 times. I'm appalled by those traitors. Well, thanks for your service, man, and thanks for upholding your oath. And I know that oath is never going to die with you, so I appreciate that, man. 4 times. But I'm just laughing. He did say that's a prerequisite. Look, I wasn't in the United States Marine Corps. I've just managed to be lucky enough to know a few of them over the years. Right, Mateo? I've known a few of them here and there. Bill Alexander, maybe you're in the house tonight. Shout out to all the veterans, seriously, from all the branches. I'm actually, you guys just aren't usually quite as much of a jerk as Marines. You know what I'm saying, Jane? Well, Jane's actually pretty... Jane's a really nice woman. Don't mess with her, though. She's nice till you mess with her. What's happening, Lori? I see you in there. I reported that story. How is that story new again, guys? Go back to my channel. You'll see. Hold on. I dropped something here. I literally reported on that story in Ohio where they called the cops on the ATF over a year ago. Like well over a year ago. It's got a few views on it. Go to my channel if you guys want to. Nowadays, you guys will actually see the footage. You'll probably want to watch the newer videos. But I reported on that video where the ATF got arrested by the local police before the video footage had even been FOIA'd. So there's better videos now. I get that. But at that time, I couldn't even show you guys the video because it hadn't been brought to light yet through the Freedom of Information Act request. Thanks for the laugh. Political? I mean, what in the world is Janet Yellen thinking? I just laughed to think that her thinking, you get the conundrum. I thought that was actually pretty funny. All right, well, Denny's plant-based journey's out of here. Good night, man. Take it easy. It hasn't been quite 2 hours yet, but do I have? What do you think? What do you think, Linda? I was actually going to give away something cool tonight. I was gonna. Do I have time, Linda, to do that? Is Baby Girl still up? Maybe she like top pick somebody. I didn't mean you guys were jerks in a bad way. I just meant that attitude, that Marine attitude. I actually meant it as a compliment. Wishing a lot of people would have that. She's not up. Okay. Should I put it on you? Because I do want to give away something cool. Give me the word, Linda, if I have time to do that. I think I do. I've been going about 1 hour and 46 minutes tonight, but I did start a little bit late. Yeah, the ATF agent suing the Columbus police, but that same ATF agent had been busted allegedly stealing. I think he was actually found guilty of it. I'm not sure. I'd have to check on the details, but at the very least, he was accused of stealing like wine and alcohol from a local Kroger store. Wow. Bill Alexander said, but we love being jerks. Jeez, oh, Pete. Sometimes it's hard the way somebody types something or the way I say something. No, I'm affectionately messing with you guys. And trust me, I know you guys can handle your own and totally tear me a new one. You know, the local stream tomorrow night, somebody's asking here, Randy Smith, what's happening, Randy? It depends. That's a little more variable. A lot of times 10:30-ish Eastern time, but it only lasts an hour, like precisely an hour. So thanks, Prepared For. I appreciate it. Will's Garage shout out says, I'm an Army vet 92 to 98. Right on. That is awesome. If you guys want to talk about being a veteran or where you served or whatnot, go ahead. By no means am I asking you to. You can keep all your private information to yourselves too. But I know sometimes that's pretty cool. Some of you guys like that, you know. Maybe Will's Garage in the Army during the mid-90s. Someone else might chime in and say, hey, dude, I was in around the same time. And maybe you guys know each other. Probably not. The Army's a pretty big place. But I know there's some camaraderie between all the services, no matter when you served, right? You're kind of in pretty tight with all the fellow servicemen and women out there, whether you ever met them in real life or not. So it's always pretty cool for people to get together. And we just need some ties that'll bind in this country, guys. And I'm hoping we can get the culture in order enough to do that. I really do. KMI Building, good night. Take it easy, man. Uh-oh, this isn't Mike DeWine. Okay, I read the end of it. Not the governor of Ohio. Okay. What's happening, Michael DeWine? He says, I've been driving, listening, enjoying the chat for over 90 minutes, nodding my head in agreement much of the time. Well, thanks for listening, man. And he said, thanks for the company. And no, not the governor of Ohio. Well, hopefully I made your drive go by a little bit better. I know I listen to stuff that I like when I'm driving and it makes the time go by at the very least. And yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to leave that comment because that is why I do this, to provide some company and some camaraderie. And I think even once you guys get out, right? Once you guys get out, I think even Navy and Marines have a certain tie that binds. Is that true? Is that true, Bill Alexander? I think even the Marines and Navy will get along in a certain way. What's happening, Dale? How you doing, man? Northern Michigan? Where are you at in Michigan? You're all over the place, man. Every time I look, Dale's heading here, heading there with his fancy old car collection. Cool, not Governor DeWine. I just saw that. We're going to start calling him not Governor. I am going to, and this is for the people that stayed to the very end, okay? So I'm going to give you, Linda, about 5 minutes, and then we're going to get off of here. You can pick whatever criteria you want, and they could be a channel supporter if you feel that's an important criteria, or you could have just liked their comment. I don't care why, okay? I've had this sitting here for a little while, and this is MVE stuff, so if you guys don't want to be on a list or become an MVE, that stands for Militia Violent Extremist. Yeah, doesn't matter if you're violent or not. You can be put on that list. I got one of these made up. This comes from Black Swan Tactical. That's where my merch is at. Links down in the description. I'm only saying that because someone will invariably come in, and shout out to all the people watching on replay, and they'll say, where did you get that? I bought it with my own money from Black Swan Tactical. This is not a sales pitch. I'm just literally trying to be nice. But I know someone will ask me, where did you get that? This is a stretch canvas, and I'm going to give this away to one of you guys. So if anybody would like this, just say so in the chat. I'm going to kind of talk to you guys for 5 more minutes, and then we're going to get out of here. And Linda will pick somebody based on literally any reason she wants. I just want to be nice to somebody, and somebody might enjoy hanging this on their wall in their shop. It's a stretch canvas spot where you can hang it there. And I'm assuming if you guys want something that says 2A EDU on it, it means you are I don't want to say fan of the channel. You like my content and like to hang out, because you have to be famous to have fans. And I'm not famous, so I will sign this right now so you guys can see that there's video footage proof. And my handwriting's horrible, but you guys saw me sign it in real life, and I would like to send it to somebody. So let me know if you would like it. You can show your support as an MVE, because the big 2A, which is considered a symbol of such extreme in this day and age, and you can put that up somewhere and enjoy the Second Amendment. And then later on, if you hate my channel, right? Came for the guns, left for the politics, yawn. Right? Okay. Then all you do is you'll just cross off where I signed it. You'll cross off that and say I support the Second Amendment. Look, you can put your Bernie Sanders 2032 sticker over it and still support. Okay, I see Will's Garage saying goes great in my gun room. Just remember, Linda, if you want to see all the chat, click over on the YouTube side of things, not StreamYard, and click on live chat, because it only does top chat. So I'm just gonna hang out with you guys 2 or 3 more minutes, and I definitely want somebody to have this that would enjoy it, because I have one back there just to make sure that I get on all the proper lists. But I bought this for the sole purpose of giving it away. And all of the channel supporters, there's literally like a giveaway going on by me right now with help from my friend Marco Polo, like 4 different places. So I talked about that earlier. I'll wrap this right back up in this box and send it to somebody. And Linda has a tough job, because I know for a fact she probably likes about 100 of you hanging out in here right now. But she is going to pick somebody in the next couple minutes whenever she's ready and drop that in the chat. What's happening, DLD After Dark? How you doing, man? Shout out to you, dude. New house? Cool, man. Congratulations. You know I check up on as many of your streams as I can, and I've got a couple more to catch up on. What's happening, ADR? ADXR 920. How you doing, man? Saint Vicari, what's happening? Harold Grumley, there he is. What's happening, dude? We have, where'd she go? Now, she's not a Michigan girl. That's why I didn't include you earlier, but one of the awesome girls that hang out in here, Misty Mrs. Wayne, what's happening? The official Let's Go Brandon decal sponsor of the channel, right? Jane Locke, there's a Michigan gal. Linda's just going to have to pick somebody. I'm sorry, girl. She has to. You can see how I do this. I just want to give that away to somebody. I don't know if anybody would want it, but now I see a few people do. What's happening, Rudy Fenny? How's it going, man? I'm looking at all those channel members emojis in here. That's one of the perks that Susan lets me give you guys. There's a lot of new channel members. Go check that channel member community tab. Dolly Madison's dad wants to become an enemy of the state. Well, look, I mean, what do you think, DLT? I mean, come on. A badge of honor, at the very least. Enemy of the state. Well, thank you for the compliment, sir, right? Shout out to the DLD After Dark channel. One of the hardest working channels out there, actually, and probably one of the most legit channels, I have to say. And I mean, when I say legit, I mean in all aspects. Legit channel. I'm just kind of looking at the chat. Some of you guys are making me laugh. You guys know how I am. Shoot. You guys are the sponsors of this channel. As long as you guys are happy, I'm happy. Linda's picking someone tonight. I'll get another one. Help support my friend Crump's business a little bit. Saint Vicari with a super chat. Thanks, man. 545. Ooh. I am a 545 guy. I do love an AK-74. If we were not on YouTube, I could go grab you one. Hold on, Susan. It's so far away. It's not even within arm's reach, but on locals, I could bring up an AK-74 to show you. Got a Bulgarian. Right over, I mean, Susan Wiki, extremely far over there. Thanks for being a channel member, man, and good to hang out with you as always, too, dude. Ron Wayne, there he is. What's happening, dude? Have I ever loaded a single... Wait, have you single loaded a full wad cutter out of your 357-92? The sound it makes cutting the air is unforgettable. Ask Mateo because I'm not a reloader, but I just wanted a way to say hi to you. I don't know. But you can answer that one, Mateo. That's on you. No, I've shot some 357 before. I do like that round. Reloading it, not so much. What's up, Band Talk? Shout out to your channel, dude. I saw another channel member sneaking in here. A couple more. C Mont, what's happening? How you doing? JJ Rainey, another local good old Michigan boy here, says I have the perfect spot. Maybe Linda's already picked somebody. I'm up in the chat, but good luck to all of you. Seriously. If I had $1 million, I'd give away 200 of these right now. If I keep doing this long enough, maybe eventually we'll get to give away 200 of them. What's happening, JJ Rainey? Data, what's happening? Says join locals. It's easy. Plenty of good info and good people. I would like it. Well, shout out, man. I think I saw an email from you. I saw an email from a lot of you guys that entered or left a comment on the locals post for some other cool stuff that we can't talk about over here. Okay, well, I was rooting for all of you, but it sounds like somebody named Logan won. Let me see if I can find that. Rudy Fenny with the congrats says, congrats, Logan. Well, thanks for the super chat, Rudy. You didn't even win. Do you need anything, Rudy? Let's see here. Yeah. Email Linda for a reminder. She'll send you something, man. You've been a supporter for a long time. Maybe there's a patch that you need or something. I have a few different colors of patches. I'm trying to get through the chat, guys. If I miss anybody, I will catch you on the replay. I'm getting ready to get out of here because it's late and Mateo helps the channel a ton, and he doesn't like to stay up late. Linda helps the channel a ton. She doesn't necessarily like to stay up late, so I don't want to push those guys too much. I'm just going to hang out for about 1 or 2 more minutes here. I do not have a Tula crank, Matt Morrison, by the way, but I wish I did. I don't do text stamps, guys. So, but I do have a cool, as of right now, pistol side folder from Cougar Romania, Micro Draco, with a triangle side folding brace. America the Free with another generous super chat. Thanks, man. And he's the one that created all the fun and excitement. That was totally random, dude, and much appreciated. It was a way that you could support the channel. And thanks for the super chat tonight. But last week, if you guys want to know what I'm talking about, America the Free found a way, and it's something new, I guess. He gifted 10 channel memberships to like 10 of you guys, and like that helped support the channel. Literally, it was the same thing financially as if 10 people individually became channel supporters. A bunch of extra people became channel supporters too last week. So thank you to all of you. Seriously. But now all those people are able to like enter into that GAW that I just put up for channel members yesterday. It ends tomorrow. So get over there and they get to do cool emojis and stuff. And I don't know, hopefully you were able to support the channel and made it more fun for more people. So that was really nice of you. And it helped me out, and hopefully the people that got those liked it. Yes. Okay. So Logan, who won? I want to give the person proper credit here. I'm seeing congrats, Logan, a couple times. She's saying to send that email over there and say what you won, because there do tend to be quite a few emails. And if Linda thinks something funny is going on, she's just going to delete it, because there's a few people who kind of try some funny business, but not that often. I'm trying to find out. Okay, Logan Hartley, congratulations. And she's never sent you anything before. So make sure you email Linda so that she can get your address and information. I will get this home to her so she can get it sent out. What's happening, Scott Plagman? How you doing? Nice to see you, dude. Hanging in there down there in the state of Alabama, right? The state of Alabama. Rudy Finney with another super chat. Thanks, dude. Find out what Rudy does or doesn't have, because I know we probably sent him something before. And can you write that down on your list? Because he'll probably be too humble to email. Write it on that list, Linda. Make sure we send Rudy something that we don't think he has yet. Thanks for another super chat. He said, and we love you, America the Free. It was just a fun thing. I appreciate it. Oh, I'm very sorry, DLD. I hope you can take it under context that ignorance is bliss. When I said congrats on the new house, I'm now reading other things and realizing that might have been me saying something that you might have really taken offense to. So I'm sorry. I mean, it's all public in the chat. I don't want to talk about anything personal, but from the bottom of my heart, I meant congratulations on the new house. Just trying to be optimistic and assuming that's because you were moving it up into something a little nicer and it was for all the best reasons. I've realized that may not be the case. So not congratulations on the new house. And hopefully you accept that was me genuinely not knowing the story when I said it's not always a good thing to move into a new house, guys. What's happening, Marksman TV? How you doing, man? It was kind of a deep conversation tonight, dude, for the most part. You're here at the very end when I'm really, really taking advantage of my wife's sleep schedule. So I'm going to get out of here in just a minute, but I did. For my friend Marksman TV, definitely an awesome channel, by the way. Awesome place down in Indiana, too. Just look it up if you don't believe me. You guys will find it very easily in Google. I've been there a couple times myself. I gave away one of these. I signed it on camera just to make it where it was a little more personalized and to make it highly collectible. And it's a stretch canvas of the MVE, Militia Violent Extremist logo here. No, definitely though. Check out the Marksman TV channel. Lots of content, lots of good stuff, and a good dude, good friend of mine. You guys are like, dude, of course we know who Marksman TV is. I know his channel's a lot bigger than mine, which is awesome. But there might be somebody that doesn't know, right? Yes, DLD. Thank you. I was frantically searching for that. I meant it with the best of intentions, and I'm sorry for anything that you're going through personally, man. And I'm sure you'll be all right, though. You'll figure it out one way or another. I'm not going to tell you it's okay or anything like that, because it's not. But you're going to have to figure it out whether you want to or not, right? So just try to make the best of it, dude. Ooh, I just had a mosquito. Did you guys see this thing? Ooh, I heard you can actually get nuked by Susan if you get rid of these in real life. I just totally got dive bombed in the eye, and it's almost midnight here, which is a sign I need to get out of here. What's happening, Pillbox Punker? What's up, dude? What's up, Lance Webb? I can kind of see you out of one eye. I literally got dive bombed in the eyeball. Thanks, Ron Wayne. Oh, by the way, I made a survey for anyone that's still here. I'm going to close it right now. I asked, do you guys like shorts or not? Or do you not care either way? 40% said yes. 21% said no. 32% is saying don't care either way. And here's the framework I'm asking it in. For days I do not have time to do a long video, would you rather have a short or nothing at all? Or does it just clog up your feed, okay? That's truly what I'm asking in here. So I'm getting ready to close this out, but that's just kind of what I was wondering. Like, dang it, another short from this idiot clogging up my feed. Or, I prefer, and this is something you guys might be thinking. I'm just asking the question. One of you might think, I'd prefer a nice 15, 20, 30-minute thorough review, but since he didn't have one time for one of those today or this week, it'd be cool to watch something real quick for a minute. Or do you just like hate them no matter what? I don't know. I don't have time to make like 20, 30-minute videos every day, so I will tell you that. If people hate the shorts and don't like them, they'll just be nothing on the days I don't have time to do videos. But a couple people suggested it. That's why I've been doing shorts the last 3 days. They're like, dude, you need to get into shorts. We like to watch them. I'm just asking. Some people ask for it. I get the feeling some people don't like them. Yes, and I do need to do what I want to do, because if I'm not happy with my own channel, I wouldn't do it anymore. So I appreciate that, JJ. But I do like to get you guys' opinion on things, and I definitely take it into account. And as I'm asking Bantalk if he likes my shorts, thanks, buddy, said he likes another channel's shorts. But he's shouting out a good friend of mine's channel, which is the Ron Wayne channel. So shout out to that channel. You're doing a good job. I've seen some of your videos, and I really like them. So what could have been taken as a slight from Bantalk. Guys, what do you like the most that I do on my channel? Well, what this other channel does. I'm totally razzing you. But I saw that out of the corner of my eye, and I was like, I like that guy. I like Ron Wayne. I don't know what to think of the theories, DLD. I've talked to several creators behind the scenes, and there's all kinds of theories that literally make my head spin. And I feel like there's theories about shorts and even conspiracies about shorts too. Like, yeah, we should talk offline soon, because my head spins on the topic. Trust me, literally. All right, guys, I'm getting ready to get out of here. Dude, thanks for another super chat. Rudy Finney with at least a third super chat tonight. Channel member, thanks, man. He says, good night, 2A family. Stay safe and God bless. And good night to you, man. God bless you as well. And yeah, with that, everybody here, stay safe. I appreciate you guys being here tonight. And I'll be on Locals literally tomorrow night, and then back here on YouTube soon, including about the middle of next week. I'm going to be dropping something that I still can't quite talk about it yet, but there's only a couple days now, And it's going to be a full-fledged, fairly long gun review, not a short. So, of something brand new that's coming out from Taurus. That's all I can tell you guys. And I will be dropping that in, we'll just say less than a week, okay? All right, guys. We'll discuss wild conspiracy theories offline where Susan's not invited, and she's not invited on vocals, so hope to see a bunch of you guys in the stream over there tomorrow night. All right, thanks for watching, and have a good one.